Hey friends, welcome back to Owlets Tarot. I am Jason. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your valuable time and energy with me. It is greatly appreciated. Uh, Anything you need to know about the channel is down in the description box below. Now, this is a very interesting spread. Uh, Very interesting cards that came out for you, Pisces. Your card came out. We've got the moon. We've also got really bad lighting. And that came out with the Two of Swords. Okay, so notice the connection between these two cards. Which I found very interesting. My eyes were immediately drawn to the crescent moons. And then I pulled out the Citadel deck and went to draw one card. And every time I ask for one card today, Spirit's been doling out deuces, so two cards came out. They just caught the reflection. We have the Musician and the Herald. Again, with the crescent moons. Now, the Citadel might have one more card in it that has a crescent moon that is a waning crescent moon, because all four of those cards are waning crescent moons. So this idea of, heading toward something new, heading toward, I just heard the word innovative. The third card that came out with the tarot is one of the extra cards in the deck. There's a past, present, and future card. So I am viewing this entire reading as being upcoming energy. Well, we'll get into the Two of Swords because I do feel like that's the present that's kind of branching off into the future, or choosing to go backwards, which isn't always a bad thing, right? To have to circle back around to pick up something that we didn't the first time. It's not inherently a bad thing. Sometimes it's Luna, please. Sometimes it's extremely crucial that we backtrack to make sure that we picked up on everything that we needed to pick up on, before we move forward, before we move on to the next lesson that life has to offer us. We need to make sure that we learned the previous lesson, and not just on a superficial level, but that the previous lesson really sunk in, that the previous lesson isn't just knowledge, it's the application of said knowledge, aka wisdom. And there's the final card that came out, I don't know whether I showed it already or not, is Temperance. So two major arcana, one of them being your card, Pisces, and crescent moons all around the house. Oh, and then I drew an oracle from the Heart Forward deck. And not to my surprise, integration is what came out. This reading seems to be a lot about integration. about not allowing. Okay, we just spoke on the idea of having to go back, you know. I'm trying to think of, how do I word this? Okay, well, for example, you know, when children are held back in school, let's say a child is held back in 4th grade from going on to 5th grade the next year, they have to repeat 4th grade. Well, the reason they're having to repeat 4th grade is because if they were to advance to 5th grade, they didn't learn what they needed to learn in 4th grade. So putting that child then into 5th grade is almost setting them up for failure because they're not there yet. And it's going to be a constant struggle. It's going to feel like a constant game of catch up. The lessons of 4th grade need to move into the lessons of 5th grade so that you can learn. You know, we all learn at different speeds. That's an easier way to sum it up. Take the failing children out of the equation. But the Herald card talks about small regrets and longing. Now, when we think of the word herald, it's to bring forth something new, a messenger bringing forth like birds flying back are heralds of spring, right? And then we've got the musician, which is talking about inspiration, and it's talking about gratitude. So when we see the small regrets and this longing, followed by inspiration and gratitude, in order to get from point A to B, in order to get from 4th grade to 5th grade, there needs to be integration. There needs to be it's you gathering all these different parts of yourself, even the parts that aren't always comfortable for you to look at. You know, it's the good, the bad, the ugly, right? It's all of it. And a lot of those things are just perceptions, right? But it's recognizing also that the lessons that you've learned throughout your life, you know, often lessons that we learn and carry forth with us and become knowledge that then we apply and it becomes wisdom. Often these lessons kind of inherently come with pain because they come with some form of change, or we needed to fall in order to pick ourselves back up. So there is a lot here that's about how you are perceiving your life up till now, how you are perceiving your life today. Do you have direction? Are you ambitious? Are you filled with guilt? Are you filled with hope? And there's the idea of needing to remember that it's okay to possess both. But this is about integrating both into something that's not so heady. Mischief and mayhem, boundaries. So some of you having to set boundaries for yourself. There's a lot of growth here. There's a lot of growing. Why can't I talk? There's a lot of what? There's a lot of growing up that has taken place here. There's a lot of a strong feeling of someone who has, whether they recognize it right now or not, talking a lot about upcoming energy. They have come into alignment with their path. So this is where we get into the Two of Swords, which is the energy that feels most present. What the energy, the energy of now moving into the energy of upcoming. It's important to remember, to when faced with needing to make a choice, right? Path A or path B, whether to move forward or whether to circle back around. It's important not to become paralyzed. Sometimes we can get really hung up. Think about somebody asking, what do you want to eat tonight? We're either the type of person that knows exactly what we want and we're very decisive, but many of us aren't. And when faced with even small choices, can kind of really get rocked by that. It can feel paralyzing. So when you're dealing with much bigger choices than what to fill your belly with that night, it can be scary. Spirit wants you to remember, though, not to become paralyzed. There is pain woven through both paths, right? There is opposition. But there's also a lot of opportunity for personal growth. So it's remembering that regardless of the path regardless of the path that you find yourself on, regardless of the path that you pick, it is exactly the right choice. And if you make a choice and then pain comes from that choice, remember that there was pain interwoven in the other choice as well, whether it's something that would have been immediate or whether it's something that would have been further down the road. And if the choice that you have made immediately feels like the wrong choice, recognize that moving forward, moving beyond that, moving into the future brings a lot of opportunities for you for new growth. There are things that it's very hard for you to see right now. when making a choice, Two of Swords energy. It's very often about not having to make a completely blind choice, but having to make a choice that the option, the outcome isn't brightly lit up. The outcome that you want, it can't be seen because it's life. We never truly know exactly how things are going to turn out. But we can really grow as individuals and really become more rich, more fully alive versions of ourselves when we recognize the need to practice gratitude. To me, the waning moon heading toward the new moon, a great time for practicing manifestation, seeing, feeling, in your mind, living, tasting, smelling exactly what it is you want for your life, seeing and living with and through where you want your life to be. It's important to remember that when we're manifesting, that within our manifestations, we are seeing the life that we want, and in our mind, we are living in that life. It is something that we already have. And very quickly, you will find that almost like a magnet, you are drawing toward you all these things that you have wanted for yourself, all these things that you have wanted to integrate into your life. Now, temperance energy, very much about integration as well, taking two things that don't seem to work very well together and finding a way to embrace and love them both, finding a way to make two dissonant chords harmonize, finding a way to bring together forces that at times feel very opposed to one another. Integrating all these elements, integrating all that you've learned and all that you've been able to transform, all that you have alchemized and transmuted along the way. Move forward into your future, recognizing that all of the wisdom, all of your viewpoints are valid. You have a lot in you. You have a lot to learn, but you also have just as much to teach and help give to others. And when we truly feel grateful, we often feel a deep need to want to give back in some way. Okay, so before we go, let's look at the Herald. And the Herald says, the Herald is this card. Just some thoughts to meditate on before we go. Nimble hands pluck at the strings of a lute. Hold on, I can't see. Pluck at the strings of a lute, and fragrant smoke curls from beneath the wide brim of a hat. The herald exudes an easy sort of charm that draws others to them as they play their tune. But beneath that smile and easy laugh, there is an undercurrent of melancholy. They think back to the day that their life changed, to the flowers on the hillsides, the hares in the grass, the guard waiting in ambush. Would their fate have been different had they taken a different path back then? Or would it still have turned out the same way? I mean, very much tying into what we spoke of here in this Two of Swords. It's easy to get caught up in the what ifs if you go forward holding on to all of those little regrets. So if you're holding on to the what wases, yeah, you're going to miss out on the pleasure of the moment. Be your own herald of change, yes, and bring something new and more positive into your life. And, with this waning moon being so prevalent here, you're being shown that space is opening for something new. Don't let the force of your own feelings separate you from finding joy in the path you are now on. And the magician, the musician, says a ship sits on the dock ready and waiting to sail on the next tide. But while the sea demands patience, music drifts from the deck, and with it a voice, one that sings in celebration of the bounty that has brought them to the citadel, and the promise of the next adventure ahead of them. Whatever the musician has, they have worked hard for it, and their gratitude and appreciation of their fortune spurs them on to an even greater future. The musician is the dawn that follows the night, the hopeful optimism after a period of struggle. After facing your problems, you're now in alignment with your true self. Yeah, so all of this is very much lining up with exactly what we've been talking about. Given your achievements, you're also in a unique position to provide inspiration to others who are still facing their own personal darkness. That is exactly what we just talked about ending this reading. You having something to teach. You having something to really help others on their journey. Very intriguing reading, Pisces. I hope you found it helpful. Please leave a thumbs up if you so choose. And I'm very grateful for all of you. Very grateful. So until we see each other again, take good care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. And be really kind to yourself amid this process, heading toward this new beginning, this new beginning being ushered in. Yeah, be well, friends.